on the floor here at Value City Arena after Chris Holtmann's new introductory press conference with Doug Maurice, Bill Landis. I'm Ari Wasserman. During that press conference, Athletic Director Gene Smith said that Holtmann was his top guy from the beginning. Do we believe that, and should he have been the number one target if that's the case? Doug?
I believe it within the context of they probably reached out to some other people and figured out I think they reached out to Billy Donovan and maybe figured out that he didn't have interest, and so then made Chris Holtmann the number one candidate. I think this is a very solid hire. I think it's possible that when Ohio State fires a successful coach in June, that your number one candidate could be higher than the Butler coach. I think that's possible. I'm not saying he's a bad hire. He's a very sensible, solid, good hire. And guys in news conferences are never going to say, well, he was our 8th choice. I mean, like, you're never going to say that. But I kind of hope Sean Miller was higher on there. I hope Sean Miller was their number one candidate. But the way Gene explained it, I kind of believe that too. So,
is there a difference between candidate and wish list?
Yeah, I think there probably is. Bill can probably answer.
Go ahead, Bill.
I think he was number one of the most practical candidates. I think they did reach out to Sean Miller and Billy Donovan and Fred Hoiberg. Sean Miller's not leaving Arizona. Arizona's number one team in the country. He's not coming here. I don't really care how much money you throw at him. Billy Donovan makes $6 million a year. Ohio State's not going to pay his basketball coach that. Fred Hoiberg, I don't know. Maybe he wants to get back into college. But below that tier, I think Chris Holtmann was his number one guy. I think the Greg McDermott stuff was a smokescreen. I think some of that was to put a little pressure on Chris Holtmann, who wasn't quite sure whether or not he wanted to take the job. If Ohio State would have hired Greg McDermott, I think it would have been a disaster of a coaching search. I'm not, at this point, so sure that Gene Smith is ever going to let it get there. I think that was a little bit of gamesmanship maybe on Gene Smith's part. So I buy to a certain extent that Holtmann was the number one candidate of the most believable candidates you could have. And with that said, I think, like, I get what you're saying about the Butler job. A guy who's had success at 2 programs, built one up from an 8-win season to a 20-win season, and has recruited the Midwest and Ohio is pretty good.
And they've had success in the past with hiring somebody like him in Thad. So for Doug, Bill, I'm Ari. Thanks for watching and all our coverage from this basketball press conference on cleveland.com.